So I was scrolling through Twitter earlier today, and I happened to stumble upon this post by Stuttering Craig. Now, if you're not familiar with Stuttering Craig is a content creator who I used to watch a lot of back in the day. They used to run a website known as screwattack.com, and it was kind of like a collective of a bunch of like gaming creators that did mostly retro-centric gaming content, and I really enjoyed their stuff. In fact, a lot of the content creators on ScrewAttack back in the old days inspired me to get into content creation myself. But having said that, Stuttering Craig, ScrewAttack kind of went away. It's not really a thing anymore. And Stuttering Craig recently came back. I want to say within the past year or two, they decided to relaunch a podcast that they used to run as part of ScrewAttack called The Side Scrollers. And initially, I was really excited to hear about the return of Side Scrollers. But Side Scrollers went from being a podcast about video games to now it just seems like an anti-woke, anti-SJW platform. And it's not at all what it used to be, which is kind of disappointing to say the least. As somebody who was genuinely excited to see a return of the podcast, that is not exactly what I expected. But in any case, Stuttering Craig made an announcement on their official Twitter account that I found particularly interesting, and I thought I would share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at it. It's become very obvious the people who work in and write about the industry that you love hate you. It's time for action. Hashtag let's take back gaming. Follow Take Back Games, take Game Backs for more, and they got a video. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at the video here, see exactly what he has to say about this. So here we go.
If there's one thing that's become painfully clear over the last couple weeks, it's that the people who work in this industry and write about this industry that you love hate you. It's one big club, and you are not in it. In fact, did you know that the Game Awards are voted on by those exact same people? I mean, look at this list. It's IGN and Polygon and Variety, for God's sakes. It's an elitist, outdated system, and it's had way too much sway in the video game industry for way too long. I've been talking about video games online for almost 2 decades now and been playing games like longer than that, but I have never seen the video game industry this toxic. It is time to get our...
I don't see a whole lot of toxicity in the games industry itself. At the end of the day, let's be honest. These are just companies that are making products to make a buck. All right, let's just be totally real. The role of a games company, a game developer, is to make a game that they can sell to you and make a profit. Okay, but I will say that there are a lot of toxicity in like a certain aspect of the gaming community of gamers. This is true.
Our voice back. Now, look, I'm not telling you I got this whole idea mapped out because I don't. I don't even have a name for this yet, but it's become painfully obvious that...
Well, he's got a name now. Apparently, it's hashtag Take Games Back.
This is very much needed. Year after year, over and over again, after the Game Awards, people say there has to be a real award show for gamers. Well, let's do it. This is the first step to creating a club or a group where you decide the winners and losers of the video game industry.
Now that on the surface sounds like a good idea, because I do think that there's been long jokes, when it comes to the video game awards, the annual video game awards, that it's like rigged. And, oftentimes the game that a lot of people think should have won, maybe they didn't win or they weren't even nominated or stuff like that. And so the game awards has become a bit of a joke. If anything, it's become more of like a place to just shill products. A lot of games get announced at the Game Awards, and I feel like that's why most people watch the Game Awards rather than for the actual awards, just to see the new game trailers and the new game announcements. But it's become more of a place to shill products, not even just exclusive to games. And a lot of the games that people feel should be the winners or nominees, they don't even get nominated. So on the surface, this sounds like a good idea.
A club where you get to decide the categories, the nominees for the categories, and of course, vote on them. And it'll all be done through an app where you can do it easily and securely. So is this club free? Nope, absolutely not. Why?
We'll get into where he mentions that the whole it's not free thing. We'll get into that in a second.
As we've seen over the last few years, our hobby has been hijacked by activists looking to push their own agenda and literally push you out.
This is where the truth comes in. It's another anti-woke grift chat. Oh shit! It's literally an anti-woke grift. Let's do a game awards ceremony you know, run by gamers, and no more wokeness, no more activism. That's what this is all about. This is about being outraged about, you know, the main character of a Spider-Man game being black, and like LGBTQ characters in video games, and pronouns options in Starfield. Like, this is what this is about. It's the fucking pronouns meme all over again.
Fucking pronouns!
For that reason alone, there has to be a barrier of entry to be a part of this club. Hell yes, we're going to gatekeep. We should have been gatekeeping much longer. But here's my vision. With your
I don't know how you could say that with a straight face and think that like that's a good idea. Holy shit.
support, will number one, be able to make the app. And number two, be able to create a physical award show that you'll be able to attend, guess what, with the app serving as your ticket. My vision for this also has a board of directors to help oversee things, but there are strict rules to be involved with the board. 1, they're not allowed to vote. 2, they're not allowed to be on any press list or receive any free video games and or perks from any AAA publishers. And 3, and most importantly, they are not allowed to be employed by traditional gaming media. Hey man, I get it. Video games are a mess right now. The industry you love doesn't want you, and the traditional media hates you. And that's why it's time to take games back. So go to takegamesback.com and become a member and help grow this community and help regain our voice. It's now or never.
It's literally just another anti-woke grift. This is the exact same thing we saw with like Bud Light when they sponsored Dylan Mulvaney, and then like that right-wing dude came out and made like an anti-woke beer. What was the anti-woke beer called again? I don't even remember, but this is literally that. Anytime, you know, right-wingers get super hyped up about some kind of movement or something like that, ultra-right beer, thank you, Emmy, ultra-right beer. But like anytime anything's going on, like right now, they're trying to reboot GamerGate with GamerGate 2 and this Sweet Baby Inc. thing. And so now everybody's jumping on the grift of like, how can we make a quick buck out of this? And that's what happened with the first GamerGate as well, or Comicsgate, stuff like that. It always becomes, how can we make money off these suckers who are outraged over dumb shit, over woke shit, right? It's always, how can we make a bag off of the situation? And so that's what this looks like. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at this. This is the actual website. Let's take games back. And it's got the video we just watched. Become a member. Why TGB exists. I spent almost 20 years talking about video games, and the video game industry has never been this crazy. What's crazy? Is it the fact that there are, you know, people of color being represented in video games, or LGBTQ representation in video games? Is that crazy to you? Like, why do you get so mad? Why do people get so mad about characters that fall into these categories being in the games? Like, I will agree that there are definitely some instances where that shit gets shoehorned in a way that, like, it feels, you know, just weird and off. But having said that, for the most part, like, I don't have a problem if there's a gay character in a game, or a trans character in a game, or a, you know, person of color in a game. For me, that doesn't affect the gameplay at all. As long as the game's fun to play, who gives a shit, right? So anyway, I'm creating Take Games Back because of the glaring chasm between video game developers, the media, and the players themselves. We've all seen it. There's a disdain towards gamers from media and even devs. It's insane. We all feel the disconnect and frustration, so I'm founding TGB with a clear mission to empower gamers with a voice. I want to ensure your voices are heard and respected in an industry that often overlooks your perspectives. If you followed my career, you know that I'm a big doer, and sometimes I just hop in the boat without knowing exactly where it's going. With that said, yes, the website is not great, but it's a starting point. This website is a starting point. It will improve. This is all an idea, but we have to start doing instead of just talking. Otherwise, nothing will happen. So let's make, you know, a quick buck as quickly as possible. Anyway, I don't want to read the rest of this, but let's get into the support tiers, okay? So you can pledge $5 a month. You just want to support on a monthly basis. Thank you. For $15 a month, support and suggest categories for future award shows. Now, here's the thing that most people are interested in, the voting, right? If you want to be able to vote on games that should be able to win, that you view should be able to be nominated and actually win awards, like that's the most important part. They want to charge you $60. $60 for this shit. Suggest categories, nominate, and vote on the future awards show. Award show ticket. Suggest categories, nominate, vote, and attend the future award show. And then for the elite sponsorship, $1,337. Suggest, nominate, vote, and you are listed as a sponsor of the future event. So they don't even have this whole thing figured out yet, and they're already asking people for money. Tell me this doesn't scream grift in like massive blaring red letters, okay? Holy shit. What is Take Back Games? Take Back Games is an online video game club created to empower gamers by giving them a voice, ultimately creating our own industry award show that is voted on by you, the gamer, and not the old, outdated industry journalists. Who can join Take Back Games? Anyone who plays games. You could become a member here. Why are you creating TGB? We can talk about how we're tired of the lies, gaslighting, and disrespect that come from people who work in the video game industry, but at the end of the day, we have to act. That was Take Back Games. Take Games Back is. That was. Jesus, there's so many spelling errors in this. That was Take Games Back is action. This has got more like typos and inaccuracies in it than that fucking like. What was it? The Willy Wonka experience? You remember that shit? Would you want to give these people $60 of your hard-earned money when they can't even spell check their own fucking website? If we're all tired of the nonsense, we have to start creating a parallel economy. I think the saying, for gamers, by gamers, is really cliche, but that's the way it has to be. And that's what this is. This is all about wokeness in video games. They're mad because video games are woke, chat. I'm sorry. I think I tweeted this recently on Twitter, and I'm going to repeat it here because it really is true. If you're upset about representation of people of color and LGBTQ people in video games, that's a you problem. That's not a problem with the games. That is a you problem. And maybe you need to look within yourself and kind of reflect and think, why do I care so much? Why? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. Video games is an artistic medium. And if a game developer chooses to feature these groups of people within their game or representation of these groups of people within their game, that's their artistic choice. Why does it matter to you? How does it hurt the gameplay experience for you if these people are represented in games? I said it before and I'll say it again. You need to really think about that and reflect internally and wonder, why do I care so much? Because it's fucking ridiculous.
Play that shit! Hipster!